Go live.
Be nice, you're live.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm still going.
Look, I was sleepy. Okay.
Oh, I gotta start it and stop. I gotta back out and go back in again because I'm not showing that I'm doing anything yet.
Barb would like to know how our queen is this morning.
I am amazing. Lisa let me sleep in.
Okay, look, it's a Sunday morning.
Lisa let me sleep in.
It is. I am not your alarm clock.
Lisa let me sleep
Oh,
in.
no.
She's apparently got. She let me crash on the couch. Apparently, there's a picture of the dog cuddling up against my back. She got wrapped up in watching Dustin's live.
It was a
and
good live.
forgot that she was going to be helping me do mine.
I forgot it was Sunday.
She forgot it was Sunday. She forgot that I had a live to do today. She forgot to wake me up because I blame her. But we're here. We're here, and it's not a complete. Well, no, it is a complete shit show. And good morning, and your queen is doing amazingly well, Barb. Thank you for asking, and hello, everyone else. I was watching I see Donna's here, and somewhere in time, and Tammy Pie, and that Barb girl is here. And good morning, everybody. And Donna's gonna be back in a minute. That's okay. It's gonna take us a couple minutes to get up to speed today, anyway. So there's that. So what was last week's topic? Are we doing this again? This is the second time we've gotten ready for a live. I can't remember what our last week's topic was.
Wait, John D last week? No.
Was it John D? No, it was not John D. It was, oh my God.
Oh, Knights Templar.
Knights Templar. Oh my God. How come I don't remember this shit?
We're not at our finest when it's before noon.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure that my tablet hates me every single time. It's predictable. Come on, you little bastard. I'm calling my tablet names. Yep, it's doing it.
You get no chat. Ha ha. Barb, I knew that and I didn't even see that live.
See? Oh yeah, we have this generic stupid that happens. Okay, that was done. Let's just forget about it. And we do.
I think you're just generically stupid.
I think you just generic. Okay, guys. This is my first coffee. And I've only gotten like one sip so far because she let me sleep in.
At what point are you going to remember that I like you when you're not fully caffeinated? Because you're fine.
By the way, I'm okay. When neither one of us are fully caffeinated, she is not having a good time. But when she's the one who's been up for a bit, and I'm not fully caffeinated, she thinks I'm hilarious.
Because you're my party trick.
Anyway, so if you haven't watched Dustin at Modern Metaphysic Man, he was on just before me. He ended about 15 minutes ago. So if people are looking for something to do before mine, because I'm that fucking awesome that I'm worth waiting for, go check out his channel. Oh, Donna, are you back, Donna?
Yeah, she had to catch one of her horses. They're doing antibiotics too.
Oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so you get to go around stabby the critters. Yeah, I haven't had nearly enough coffee, Donna. It's all Lisa's fault.
I don't feel bad.
She's over there ignoring me, not feeling bad, because she's got coffee and I don't. So last week
we talked coffee.
This was like my third. Oh, Steve, whatever. I'm not awake yet. You let me sleep in. You know what she does? She's like, okay. She settles in watching Dustin, but she doesn't want to disturb. She wants to let me sleep in a little, so she puts headphones on.
And then I lose track of time.
She puts headphones on so that she's not waking me.
It's because I'm courteous.
Yeah, she puts the headphones on so as not to wake me up to let me sleep in a little. And then she gets totally wrapped up in Dustin's chat and then doesn't wake me up at all. And because she's wearing headphones, it's completely quiet in the house. So I'm like, hey, it's really quiet. Snooze. And again,
you gotta see Donna's comment.
Oh yeah, Lisa was just telling me about that as she was setting up. It's like she never does that. She's the hard one that's hard to coax her to eat. Like we literally, our day is spent. Feed Bruno, and then spend the rest of the day trying to coax Shayla to eat while keeping Bruno away from her food. It's like it's crazy. And today it was like, nope, gonna fuck with your head.
I even tried to like move her away, and she just went right back to it. She was like, nope, mine.
Yeah. So, yeah, Rasputin in the Russian Revolution. Rasputin was. It was really interesting because I was looking. I was looking up all the stuff about him. I even watched the Donna recommend. Was it Donna? Yeah, Donna. You're the one who recommended The Last Tsars, which was really fucking awesome. I actually like power watched that last night, so that was like my head is still spinning. But so Rasputin is really really interesting. I've got some stuff up to refer to because if I don't have something to refer to, I just repeat the same fact over and over and over again. It gets bad. It gets really bad. But anyway, so yeah. So last week was Knights Templar, which was so far. This is the first break from going straight into a related topic. Rasputin's kind of an outlier off on his own. So yeah, we've got some people coming in, so that's all cool and awesome. Oh, Marion's in. Jamie, Jada's Journey. You changed your name recently.
Used to be Real Earth Jada or
Real Earth Jada or something like that. Yeah, and he smelled literally.
Oh my God, Caroline.
Oh my God, good Caroline. I'm not the only one because I'm like, hey, I gotta get up in the morning. I gotta get up in the morning and talk intelligently about this shit. And Lisa's like, no, you don't. We're gonna wake you up at the last minute. It's great. I've been awake for about 30 minutes. Not even.
Time to stop blaming. You take responsibility for your life.
Well, stop turning off the alarm, and I'm making a nice point.
I didn't turn off your alarm. You turned off your own goddamn alarm. Yes, that wasn't me. That was you. I wasn't
awake enough for that.
Yeah. Okay, look.
See, and you did not.
You used to have a phone alarm. What happened to that? Oh, I like arguing.
It was annoying.
On the internet. I'm way more likely to win.
That's true, and you're way less likely to start hitting.
You take that back right now, or the internet's gonna think I beat you. Not that
the internet already thinks you beat me.
No, it doesn't.
They think I deserve it, but they think you beat me.
Oh, Jamie. Oh, brawl first thing.
I'm not awake, man. I am not awake. I am not awake. I am. Okay. So, So I've literally spent the week. I've spent a little bit of time every day, all week, looking at stuff about Rasputin. And what's weird is the lack of information about Rasputin. Okay. By the way, I grew up my whole life calling him Rasputin because, no internet and not knowing
Rasputin. He likes poutine.
It's Rasputin. Rasputin. If you know what poutine is, Rasputin. If I say Rasputin, it's because I lived my whole life not knowing how it was pronounced because no internet. You read it in the paper, you make your best guess, and that's how we talk to each other. So, I literally thought that the song, which I posted in the group, I literally thought that the song was mispronouncing the name just for the sake of making it rhyme with the lyrics, because, it's a Boney M song. I had no idea that they were pronouncing it correctly and all this time. Anyway, so there's your first fun fact about Rasputin. It sounds like poutine. Okay. Oh, okay. Jamie Kelly says it the same way, Rasputin. Yeah, I think that's pretty much how how most people over in North America are going to want to pronounce it based on the phonics rules that we learned as kids and stuff. But so yeah, I don't feel bad, but I feel I should explain for the people that are going, wow, like, what are you, dumb? Like, okay, so I'm probably going to go back and forth now that you ever do that? Now that you know how something is spelled, you go, Rasputin. I mean, Rasputin, it's whatever. So, okay. So we're going to be hearing a lot of that today, and I'm really, really sorry. It's just the way it's going to happen. Okay. So, yeah. Okay, so I'm not the only one. See? I'm just the one that's doing it on camera for the amusement of everybody else. It's great. Okay, so Grigory Rasputin. Now I'm not even going to pronounce it either of those two ways. I just picked the third one.
Okay.
She's just looking at me going, whatever, you're dumb. I'm used to it. Grigory.
Let's just call him Rasputin.
Oh, there you go. Marion pronounces it the same way as she's closer to Russia. I win. I can say Rasputin.
He does look kind of creepy. That's my feedback.
He looks incredibly creepy. Basically, the story of Rasputin gets really, really fucking weird. Not really, really quickly. Basically, how he ended up in the Russian court is a complete mystery. And this is where things get really, well, it's not a complete mystery. We know how he ended up, we know how he ended up staying in the Russian court once he got there. We just don't know how he got there, because he was a peasant born in, let me see if I can pronounce this. I've got two articles up. One's the Wikipedia article about him, and the other one is a 29 Facts article. Yeah, he was born January 1869 and passed away in 1916. So he was a mystic and self-proclaimed holy man. Now he was called the Mad Monk. He was called the Mad Monk for a whole lot of reasons, and one of which was that he was crazy. He was just some crazy bugger, right? Now the interesting thing about him, though, is that he was probably much older than we always assumed this somewhat younger guy, and I don't, or maybe we don't. But so he was born to a peasant family in the village of Petrovskoy. Oh, it's
going to be fun watching you pronounce all the.
Oh yeah, which is now the district, which is now Yarkovsky district of Tyumen Oblast. Anyway, he was born in Siberia. He was born like 1,000 miles away from Petrograd, which is now St. Petersburg. He was born 1,000 miles away. He was a peasant. He was a Russian peasant living in the middle of nowhere. So this is where, this is where, you know, from the modern perspective, looking back, you're going like, how does an uneducated Russian peasant find his way into the royal household? Shouldn't have happened. Should not have happened by every standard of Russian society. Yeah, he was introduced to this man, but here's where the interesting thing is. Like Bob said, he got there because he ran away to a religious place and became friends with one of the religious guys at that place who had been the holy man of the Romanovs. He was introduced to this man, which is true. But again, there's kind of some weirdness to this, because basically he's got kind of apparently he had a really crappy reputation. Now, some of the stuff that he was accused of were the kind of crimes where they take you out behind a tree somewhere and hang you. So some of the stuff that he was accused of later on isn't likely to be true, because he just simply would have been executed, would have been killed by his fellow villagers. But it is known that he was. What are you doing? She's looking at me and typing.
Everything's fine.
I don't trust her. I don't, because she's always doing stuff. She's making faces at me and. Whoa! Don't spill the coffee. Don't spill the coffee. Don't spill the coffee.
That is precious liquid gold.
Oh my God, that is liquid gold. Sip number 5, people. Oh my God, I just gotta chug the whole thing. Anyway.
Look at the sparkly poop.
I have sparkle poop. Oh, and I have this too. It's cute.
Yeah, Jada brought it up.
Okay. So basically, he's living in a village. He's doing his thing. He's uneducated. Now don't forget, like religion is like. This is a time when people were deeply religious just by default, but this is also a time in Russia when if anybody's ever heard of serfdom, and that is where the population is just one step above being a slave. Russia still was very much entrenched in serfdom at the time, serfs, peasants, that sort of thing. Very few people, a huge population, but very few actual rights, and and the entire country was absolutely controlled by the monarchy. This kind of becomes this becomes important, and it becomes also very strange. It's also part of why this whole ride was very, very strange. So basically, he's like, yeah, okay. So he had a religious conversion experience. Now the thing is that the actual provable facts of his early life before he became to St. Petersburg, very difficult to find, which is really weird. This is the reason why this is really weird, is because of the religious nature of society back then, you would think that if he had some, how does this unknown work his way up the ranks and nobody knows anything about him? This was really, really strange. So basically, Russia had he was not a monk. He did not join a religious order. He did not take religious rites or vows. He did the Russian Orthodox Church's version of a priest. He didn't do that. He apparently he tried to join one order and was very upset and dissatisfied with them and didn't stay. But what he did do was he had some sort of a religious experience, and he then became, he took a pilgrimage. All it says here is he took a pilgrimage to a monastery in 1897. Remember, he's born in 1869. He's almost 30 years old. Takes a pilgrimage to this, takes a pilgrimage to a monastery. Now, the miniseries The Last Tsars shows him getting in trouble in his village, having problems, doing this, doing that, and they tell him, go on a pilgrimage, do something, clear your head, and don't come back till you get your shit together. There's no actual evidence that that's what happened. That's the rumor, but nobody can back that up. They basically said he was very strong-willed. He was very strong-willed, and he wasn't necessarily very well liked in this village. But there's no, like in the miniseries, he steals a horse. But I happen to be aware that stealing a horse at that period in time was a capital offense, and you would get hung for it. So if that was his behavior, we don't know how did he manage to survive. But anyway. So what we do know is he had a religious conversion experience of some kind, and he becomes a stranik, and that means wanderer or pilgrim, like a religious a holy man and a wanderer, and he basically wanders everywhere, and apparently he wandered as far as Greece. Where is it? He was born a peasant in a small village. In Tobolsk, governorate now, whatever, in Siberia. He was born in Siberia, and we know Siberia to be a vast and harsh wasteland. He did not learn to read and write until he was an adult, until he was in his late 20s, as part of his religious experience, as part of his looking for religious teaching and knowledge. What we do know is that he came into contact with, Last Stars was a really good miniseries. I thought it was the History Channel. I thought it was the History Channel. It was on Netflix. It was really, really good. It was really, really good, and it made use of a lot of the beliefs about what his life was like. Some of the stuff, like I said, like he was definitely a troublemaker in his village, but whether or not it went as far as stealing and things like that, we don't really know. A lot of the stuff that we know about him was written by the people that hated him. So anyway, Rasputin's story actually takes whatever he's wandering, he's learning, he's doing this, he's doing that. He's a peasant villager. So even though it's not really mentioned, it's kind of hinted at. Yeah, criminals were shipped to Siberia, so most of the people who lived there were either criminals or the offspring of criminals. Exactly. Siberia was where the bad people went. So we know that he was not raised in the best of circumstances. He was he had either 7 or 8 siblings, all of whom died in childhood. There may have been a sister that survived, but there's no record beyond mentioning that he had a sister. So there's that. So he's going to be in a very Wild West kind of environment, and we know kind of what that means. Except for they're peasants, they don't have guns, right? So he's raised like this. He's dirty. He's unkempt. He's a fucking problem. He goes on a pilgrimage, and we don't really know, religious experience, goes on a pilgrimage. Anyway, so he's off doing this, and he's gaining a bit of a reputation as a holy man. And he's also gaining a bit for being very stubborn, hard-headed, does whatever he wants. But let me see if I can find the reference. In 1879, he developed a renewed interest in religion. Yeah, one of the rumors is that he left the village to escape punishment for his role in horse theft. Others suggest that he had a vision, either of the Virgin Mary or Saint Simeon of Verk. Oh my God. Hey, that closed up. Don't close up. And some suggest that it was because of his that he met a man named Melody Zabrowski. Anyway, it was a radical life change. It was something that peasants and serfs did not do. Generally speaking, at that time in Russia, peasants and serfs didn't do anything without permission from whoever the landholder was, which was members. The landholders were always like, members of the royal family. So we don't know how all this happened, right? So he's wandering around and he is gaining a reputation. He's living off charity. He's living off donations, and he's also gaining a reputation as a healer and being able to see the future. But we have there's not really any records of things that he is supposed to have said. So we don't. So again, he's gaining this reputation for things that can't be proven. Yeah, he became a vegetarian, swore off alcohol, and prayed and sang much more fervently than he had in the past. So basically the prevailing theory is that he's traveling from he travels from monastery to monastery all through Russia and Europe, but he's going from Siberia all the way to Greece, and chances are he did this for years, right? Anyway, so he meets some people. This is actually very dry. There's not a lot that's interesting. What's going on over there?
Well, Donna found something that's less dry, and I've been asked to put it on the pictures, and I don't know if I can bring myself to do it.
Do it.
Are you sure? Do you know what it is?
Probably a shit show. Go. Shit show, go.
Okay. 2 seconds. That's disgusting.
I heard about Rasputin, God, when I was a teenager. I heard about him a long, long time ago.
I apologize, everybody. This is not family friendly.
Oh my God. Okay, if you got little kids, cover their eyes. What'd you do? I still don't see it yet.
It'll take a second. Oh.
What is that?
Think about it.
Hey, it's a pecker.
It was apparently especially large. So it's in a museum.
It looks like an elephant trunk.
Oh God! Okay, I'm taking it off now. I can't.
No.
Yeah, I gotta take it off.
Who wants to see? Was that his?
Yes. It's in a museum. Lady Night of Babylon found apparently it's 20.5 centimeters, so they've got it chopped up and in the rest.
They chopped up in what?
They kept it in like a jar. In a museum.
A jar of penis.
No, I could have lived my entire life and never seen that image.
And now you have.
And so have you. You're welcome.
I've seen. Yeah. See, Dustin says that's a penis.
Oh my God.
Hi, Dustin. Welcome. Just in time for the penises.
Yeah, that's disgusting. Okay.
Just in time for Rasputin's pecker.
He was known not to wash for 6 months and never brush his teeth.
Oh yeah, this gets weird. This gets really fucking weird. Actually, it does. Okay, it does, but it doesn't. Okay, so basically, he's wandering around. Now you're thinking, obviously, okay, he's a peasant from Siberia. He's an uneducated peasant from Siberia, so obviously he's going to have some contact with herbal medicines. He's going from monastery to monastery. There's indications that he's saying things that are prophetic that come true. So he eventually gets invited to St. Petersburg.
I was pointing at your glittery poop.
Glitter poop. I have glitter poop. Lisa's gonna have nightmares. Okay. Oh my God, the museum guy paid $8,000 for that. Wow. Who would pay $8,000 for pickled pecker? It's like Peter Piper pecked the pickled peppers. Okay, I can't. I haven't got not enough coffee. I can't do this. Okay, so that's basically it. That's his early life. That's what's known about his early life. It's nothing. He's a religious zealot who wanders from monastery to monastery and has gained somewhat of a reputation for being a healer and a mystic. There is evidence that he basically investigated. I don't know what the word is because it's not. So along the way, he learned to read and write. Because to be able to better read his Bible and whatever. So that, and a lot of people in that point in time who did learn to read and write as adults did learn to read and write through reading the Bible. So yeah. Mary says, I hope it's not sausages you're having. Not today. Not now. Okay, so he's in his travels. He's becoming known in religious circles. And Barb named the guy, and now I have to start looking. Yeah, so basically by the early 1900s, he was living as a stanik, a holy wanderer or pilgrim, and he would leave, Pokrovskoy. Oh my God! If there is anybody in this room who happens to be of Russian background, please forgive me for murdering the language. Anyway, so for months or even years at a time to wander the country and visit a variety of holy sites. It's possible that he wandered as far as Athos, Greece, the center of Eastern Orthodox monastic life. So the Russian and the Greek Orthodox Church were probably I always wondered, so now I know. They were very, very closely related. Anyway, so he had developed a small circle of acolytes, primarily family members and other local peasants who prayed with him on Sundays and holy days. But he's doing this in his hometown, right? The local clergy of his hometown didn't like it. They had a huge problem. The group held secret prayer meetings. These meetings were the subject of some suspicion and hostility from the village priests and other villagers. It was rumored that female followers were ceremonially washing him before each meeting, which we know probably isn't true because he was actually quite the opposite, and washing was not something that he really believed in. And there was that he had joined the Klisti, and that was a group who that was the self-flagellators, and they engaged in what are they calling it here? Ecstatic rituals, basically orgies and self-flagellation, and but investigations failed to establish that Rasputin was even a member of the sect. So there is some, okay, so basically what they kind of realized after the fact is that whether or not he was ever part of this group, he had spent some time among them learning about them because he was always wanting to see. He encountered tons and tons of different groups and sects and SECT, and whether or not he participated or was part of them was kind of, there was a lot of his behavior was secretive. So he didn't have as many friends as it sounds like he had. But one thing that he is I forget what they called it, and I'm not seeing the reference. Mesmerism, hypnosis, was all the rage at that time. It was actually considered one way to heal people, and we all know that mind over matter is a great healer. And he did have some. Nobody knows whether he was an actual hypnotist or whether he at least had spent some time with people who practice it. So we go there. So now we're off on a. So now this. And again, there's almost no actual factual provable evidence of whether any of this shit is true. So he comes. So there's already rumors that he's having sex with his female followers. There's already rumors that he's a problem, but there's rumors that he's a healer. Now we're going to take a step to the left because the unfortunate problem that's happening at that time is that how do I gotta find his Alexei. Okay. Anyway, okay. Tsar Nicholas II, Tsar of Russia, became the Tsar when he was relatively young. Now, in the series that I just watched last night, it kind of outlines that very, very well. He was young, he was inexperienced, and he became Tsar. He is ruling the entirety of Russia. So far, so good. But his wife, the Tsarina, Catherine, is German. Now, Russia and Germany have always had hostile relations with each other. So basically, the Tsarina is like nobody likes her and nobody trusts her. She has very few people that she is very isolated. She's got very few people that like her. But what adds another layer of complication to this is that what was expected to become what started off with the expectation that it was a political marriage, they actually fell in love with each other. They were
This
and
is
that
Rasputin's wife you're talking
no,
about?
this is the Tsar, and this is the reason why this becomes kind of important is because the Tsar. Yeah, okay, so let's take a step backwards. Yes, that's the guy. That's okay. Barb is right. Yeah, that is the guy, Barb. I just can't remember his name because I wasn't smart enough to actually make a note of that. So it's like, so this guy. So basically, Rasputin's gaining a reputation for a healer, and what's going on is we've got several layers going on in the Romanov family. One of which the Tsar and Tsarina are actually they're one of the few royal couples that are actually in love with each other. Most royal marriages were political. Here's the politics of why you two are going to get married, and you guys need to make lots of babies so we can continue, because that's how royal families formed alliances and whatnot. But she's German. The Russians hate the Germans. That was just it. Like during World War One, and this is just not too. This is just in the years. This was like 1904, the years leading up to World War One. Tensions are strained. Now I can't. I wasn't. And again, I wasn't smart enough. I didn't look up when Nicholas and Catherine were married because they've already got 4 daughters. They're desperate for a son. And don't forget the queen's in royal families, the queen's main duty was to provide a male heir. So, drum roll, please. Her 5th and last child finally is a male, and he's a hemophiliac. That is the bleeding disease, the royal curse. That's the disease where even a paper. This is the disease where blood does not clot, and even a paper cut can kill you. So it's bad. It's really, really bad. They've been trying and trying and trying for a boy. They finally get a boy. The boy is ill. The boy is, and this is like 19. I think Alexei was born in like 1901. He's not even likely to live to adulthood back at that time because treatments for hemophilia didn't exist. So, but. Okay, so the Tsar and the Tsarina, they love each other. So he's invested in making his wife happy in a way that most monarchs would not be. This becomes important later. And it becomes a huge factor in Rasputin's power and his success, because they've got a hemophiliac son and they keep it a secret. Now everybody knows now. You say, oh well, the Tsar, the son with the hemophilia. Oh yeah, that one. Everybody knows. Back then, nobody knew. It was a secret. Even close family. There's even some question as to whether or not the Tsar's mother even knew, like the child's grandmother. The sisters may not have even known. We don't know. So, because he is the only male heir, and a Tsar with no heir pretty much guarantees civil war at the. If they'd have known that the boy was sick, then jockeying for position to be the next heir when the heir apparent is not likely to survive becomes a huge fucking problem in a society where getting rid of your competition through murder of various types is common. It may have become less common by then. So anyway, but we're going to go on another tangent. Well, we're going to stay on the Tsar's family now. And again, the last Tsars outlines this beautifully. Tsar Nicholas has absolute power. The peasants are uneducated. They have very few rights, very few privileges. Working conditions suck. It's bad, but they live it. But this is serfdom where the upper classes and the lower classes do not mix. So he's thinking that the people are happy, that people are supporting him, the people are this and the people are that. And when reality is that they're unhappy, they're starving, Industrialization is happening, so they're building factories and then throwing these illiterate farmers into factories to work with it. And I don't want to call it slavery, but serfdom and the peasantry and whatnot. Like if they order that, well, we need 100,000 workers to go to this city and start building things. 100,000 workers are sent to that city, and not all of them are given a choice. So we've got this sort of thing happen. It's the way society was back then. So there was support for the monarchy, but it was also at the time when society is changing everywhere else. Industrialization is happening. Medical advances, scientific advances, industrialization. People want better. This is the undercurrent of his entire reign. During his coronation, there was a stampeding event where 1,500 people died in a deeply religious, highly uneducated country that is becoming less and less happy with the monarchy because starvation is a thing. That is seen as a bad omen for the beginning of his reign right there. Anyway, going in circles. My God, I'm still going in circles. I'm just lecturing at you guys today. My God, I'm not really even. I'm like.
You're doing good.
Yeah. Barb said that. Okay, Barb says like, oh yeah, Rasputin asked everyone to leave the room. Barb, you're jumping ahead of the game. Yeah. Alexei had hemophilia. Medical doctors couldn't heal him, so they brought in Rasputin. Basically, Catherine, the Tsarina, was deeply religious. She was like super religious, and so one thing leads to another, and there's like, well, there's this guy, but he's so there's like, oh, the prince isn't feeling well. We need to bring in a healer, and the guy that heard about Rasputin was the priest to the Tsar and Tsarina, heard their confessions, religious confessions, and the sacredness of the confessional. He knows that their son's a hemophiliac. And it's like, well, there's this faith healer that might at least, and nobody knows whether this guy believed that Rasputin was the real deal or not, but they knew that the Tsarina was looking for faith-based cures. And I suspect, based on everything that I found, I suspect that this priest expected to use Rasputin as a political pawn. We're going to send this faith healer. She's going to make the queen feel better, relaxed, less freaked out. And whether or not the boy lives or dies, this priest is going to get more power and authority for having tried. So this dirty, disgusting, disheveled man shows up, says, "Tell the doctors to leave the boy alone," and the boy will. Oh no, that was a different thing. Basically, the first thing that Rasputin does, because he's a faith healer and he believes in his abilities, right? Which means that the queen believes in his abilities, and he says, "Tell the doctors to back the hell off." Basically, aspirin had just been discovered, and they were giving the boy aspirin for his pain because he had had a fall and had a bruise. Now, even with the hemophiliac, even bruises, they bleed internally and just develop hematomas and all sorts of weird shit. So, yeah, no, we were talking. I'm just giving you a hard. Barb says, "Sorry, I thought we were talking about Alexis." We were. I segued. I segued with a lot of warnings, so it's like, oops, sorry. Anyway, so aspirin is a blood thinner. So take away the aspirin, and he starts to feel better. Now, hemophilia can have different varying degrees of severity. Now, this child had it bad enough. It was bad, but obviously he was able to recover. Like a lot of severe hemophilia, those children didn't live past infancy. Those children, that's miscarriages happen in the womb. So the boy starts to improve. And it's like, oh my God, this holy man has healed my son. Suddenly the Tsarina is like, I want this man near me at all times, because this boy is the heir to the Russian throne. This is of vital importance. And she's already had 5 children, 4 of which were girls. If they continue having babies, there's no guarantee that there's going to be another boy or that it's going to be healthy. For some reason, either she was too old to have children by that point, something. They never had any other children. Anyway, but this is why the segue. The segue is that Tsar Nicholas and Katerina? What the hell was her name? Anyway, what the fuck was Tsarina's name? Because I think I'm giving her the wrong name. Yeah, Lady Knight of Avalon says Tsar and Tsarina were second cousins, and the royals at that time were all related to one another. Exactly. They were both carriers. It was likely that they were both carriers of hemophilia, so the son gets hemophilia.
I'm not sure her name, babe.
I'm saying Catherine, and I hope I got this right, because I just realized that I was also looking at something else and might have it wrong. Anyway, so Alexei is not only their son, but they love their kids. This is not just politics, which matters. Don't forget is that in royal families, in royal houses, you have your kid, you play nice with your kid, and then you send your kid off to boarding school, military school, whatever. A lot of these royal parents didn't have a lot to do with their kids.
Tsarina
Alexandra, and I've been calling her Catherine. So it's Alexandra, and I'm sorry for calling her Catherine. Yeah, Alexandra Fyodorovna. Oh my God. I swear to God, this is bad. Anyway, so it's Alexandra, and the kid's name is Alexei. Like, I mean, that just tells you something. Like, you don't name your child after your wife unless you love her, and that was not common. This matters. This becomes so fucking important because in royal circles, like, okay, like even Queen Elizabeth sent her kids to boarding schools. Prince Charles sent his kids to boarding schools. Like, I mean, this was the norm, not the exception in royal circles. The Tsar, his kids, they stayed with them. They spent as much time with their kids as they could because they were in love. They loved each other, which means that they loved their children in a way that just didn't necessarily exist in royal circles. And again, this matters because Alexandra is German and she is hated. She is hated by the people. She is hated by the court because Russia is on the verge of war with Germany. And apparently there was opposition to the marriage. Like, I would have to do a whole thing looking up Tsar Nicholas to find out why the marriage even happened. Because she was so unpopular as a choice for him that, yeah, it just, but again, the people is because if Russia goes to war with Germany, who goes to war? The people. Who dies? The people. The people did not want their Tsar marrying a German. It was a problem. So she was seen as a spy, a traitor. She was very, very unpopular in the court. She did have her friends and supporters, but not as many as we would like to think that she did. Yes, Alexandra is the queen who had 4 girls and then a sick boy. Uh-oh, what'd Donna do? Yeah, we did cover the size of the ding-dong. Okay, so this gets really weird. So he goes, he faith heals, he does whatever he does because his healing, apparently he did not do any healing in public. But he goes, the boy gets better. The boy gets better when they were expecting him to die. The boy then gets sick again. So basically he's like, oh my God, you healed my son. He's now immediately that quick in the royal court. He believes he has a power of prophecy. He believes he has a power of healing. And so he believes that everything he says is the word of God. And he says a bunch of shit. He starts advising the queen, who starts advising the king. And again, I'm really harping on that the king and the queen loved each other. The Tsar and Tsarina loved each other because this is basically the reason why the Russian Empire collapsed, because Tsar Nicholas did not like Rasputin. Did not like him at all. He was dirty. He was rude. He was vulgar. He was a peasant. This is like, it's not done. It is not done in Russian society. You bring him in, you heal your kid, you send him back to the fucking monastery. You don't keep him in the house. Tsarina is, hi. She's giving me funny looks again. Tsarina is, this is my son. He's the heir. He's the heir and he's sick. They treat him like porcelain. The monk has to stay close. She's super, super religious, starts listening to him. There's rumors started almost immediately that she was having an affair with him, even though it's extremely unlikely that she was. So, but what Rasputin would do, he comes into the room, is like, the child's not going to die. This is what's going to happen, and he's going to live. And that's exactly what happened. He also says, yeah, so he's doing faith healings. He's doing something privately. So, and now the rumors start, and now picking apart whether or not it's political or mystical, because he had a reputation as a mystic, but nobody would say what he was predicting. Nobody. This is the weird thing. But so he's the healer to Alexei. He's basically like part of the royal family now. It's like, because again, they're peasants. He doesn't have an option, but he doesn't want one. And now he's got power. He's got massive. You've got a barely educated religious nut job who believes that he is a prophet and a healer, and apparently is dabbling in hypnosis. And now he's like got the ear of the queen, who has the ear of the king. It's crazy. So, much of Rasputin's influence with the royal family stemmed from the belief by Alexandra and others that he had eased the pain and stopped the bleeding of the Tsarevich, which was, crown prince. The Tsarina had a passionate attachment to Rasputin as part of her belief that he could heal her son's affliction. And he became an indispensable member of the royal entourage. So, so basically he had a reputation for being able to, he had a reputation for faith healing. It's something that he'd been doing for years and gained a reputation for it. And the Tsarina's friend, Anna Vyurabova, became convinced that Rasputin had miraculous powers shortly thereafter, and she would become one of Rasputin's most influential advocates. So basically, for some reason, this dirty, disgusting man who may or may not have engaged in ritual orgies, self-flagellation, and he definitely slept his way through the royal court. Alexandra and Tsar Nicholas heard the rumors, knew what he'd been doing. There was an investigation that brought back proof, and they still wouldn't get rid of him. They still would not get rid of him. So, there's a belief that he used hypnosis. There's a belief that just by there was a belief that just his presence keeping the mother calm is what helped calm down the kid so he could get better. But unfortunately, so sooner or later this gets out of hand. Tsar Nicholas finally steps in and says, "Okay, this guy is dirty, disgusting. He's a problem. He needs to go." And they send him back to where he came from. That city I can't pronounce. There's a carriage ride. There's a bump. There's a bruise. Alexei is in bed. He's feverish. He's not getting better, and they give him the last rites. Tsarina caves. So something happened halfway through this where even the Tsarina could not keep Rasputin with her. Caves, sends him a telegram, says, "My boy is sick. My boy is sick again. I need you to pray for him." He sends a thing back, says, "The boy will not die." And don't forget, he's already been given the last rites. "The boy isn't going to die. Just tell the doctors to not bother him and let him get some rest, and he'll be better. He'll be better by morning." So he's already been given the last rites. The Tsarina says, "Okay, everybody out, leave my son alone. Let him rest. This is what's going on." Prays whatever, does whatever the fuck she does. By morning, fever's gone. So it's like now Rasputin is healing from a distance. He's backing good, and that's just the end of it. The Tsar basically said, the Tsar basically decided that, look, if I don't let this man into our family to watch over my son, if anything happens to my son, then because I sent Rasputin away, I will be the one, in my wife's eyes, I will be the one who killed our son. Tsar Nicholas, so yeah, where else are we here? Yeah, so basically, that kind of solidifies, that one event of Alexei getting super sick solidifies Rasputin's power in the court. The Tsar not wanting his wife to stop loving him allows it to happen. Which is, again, this is why it's very, very important to remember that the Tsar and the Tsarina loved each other, because half of what happened would not have happened if this had been treated as, If this had been strictly a loveless political marriage, like most marriages of the time were, that Rasputin would probably have not lasted 5 minutes in court. So let me see. Yeah, alternative religious movements had become popular among the city's aristocracy. So dabbling in different types of religions and practices and whatnot was really, really common. And whatever the hell Rasputin was bringing at the table. So people, yeah, occult and the aristocracy were intensely curious about the occult and the supernatural. The St. Petersburg elite were fascinated by Rasputin, but did not widely accept him. He did not fit with the royal family, and he had a very strained relationship with the Russian Orthodox Church. So the very guy that brought him into the royal family is regretting it, because this guy, okay, so basically Rasputin, being a peasant, the Tsar is seeing Rasputin's support as proof that the peasants support him, because the Tsar Nicholas was very, very, very disconnected from the people. So he believed that he had more support than he did. He believed that the people would follow him to the ends of the earth. And what?
Oh, I just there's a comment.
Okay, according to Wikipedia, he was poisoned, shot, and thrown in a river, but his body was retrieved and showed not to contain any poison nor water in the lungs. Exactly. This is the weird thing. The weird thing is he was attributed so much stuff, so much mysticism and occultism and magic was attributed to him that has just never been proven, and nobody really knows why. Politically speaking, it makes sense, because the people that were opposed to the Tsar, he was a great way to drum up support for overthrowing the Tsar and the Tsarina, because Tsarina's German, everybody hates her already. Rasputin is a dirty, unwashed peasant with a reputation for throwing orgies. It's like, it gets crazy. So yeah, feudalism is basically disappearing throughout Europe, except in Russia. The Tsar is thinking that that the monarchy is the best way to rule Russia, without stopping to realize that the people want something different, and there's more of them than there are of him. Anyway, so what's also going on? Okay, what's also going on in the background is that Russia's at war with Japan. This was prior to World War I. Russia's at war with Japan, and because of Rasputin's counsel, or rather because of things that Rasputin, basically, every single bad thing that happened in St. Petersburg was blamed on Rasputin. So it doesn't matter who actually counseled the Tsar to go to war with Japan. Rasputin is reputed to have said, "Go to war with Japan, you'll win." Goes to war with Japan, and it's catastrophic defeat after catastrophic defeat after catastrophic defeat. And Russia is losing the war badly, but Rasputin's going, "Oh no, the people are behind you. The people believe in this. The people want you to win. You'll win. Just keep fighting." And he's fighting a war that he's fighting a war that he's not winning, can't win, because this was I'm not sure what.
Are you watching the comments, by the way? There's
a
conversation about the river and.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he was dead. He was dead before he was thrown into the river. But the story that the conspirators that killed him told was like how they wanted to be heroes for killing a monster, not criminals for murdering a monk. So.
Well, there's conflicting, because somebody said too that they read that he did have water in his lungs. Somebody else said no.
There is, you know what? He was killed in 1916. Honestly, I mean, anybody can say anything that they want 100 years later, and we don't even have the body or the forensic evidence to prove it.
Did ask, so did the boy die with the blood disease?
No, he was executed by the Bolsheviks. Basically, okay, so this is where we get weird all over again. Basically, Rasputin finds himself advisor to the royal family. He's giving the royal family advice because he is proven, very outspoken, speaks his mind, has very strong beliefs in certain things. So he is giving them advice. Oh, go to war with Japan, you'll win. Well, you have to win. You're the Tsar, you'll win. And Nicholas is taking this as proof that if Rasputin supports the throne, so do the people, because Rasputin's of the people, which, I mean, let's face it, Rasputin in the Russian court would have been like us going to the fucking zoo, as far as anybody's concerned. He should not have been there. There is, even with the fact that he was healer to the sun, He should not have been. He should not have been where he was. He should not have had. Nobody knows how that happened. People suspect hypnosis. He had like this wild-eyed, crazy stare. He was known for it. Yeah, he was such an absolute zealot, and Alexandra was so isolated and so desperate for a cure for her son, and so religious, and so in love with her husband. It was just a perfect storm of one guy who should never have been where he was, got way too much power. The people who supported him, he's a holy man, he's a seer, he's a mystic, he predicts the future, he does this, he does that. Oh, what has he done? We don't know. Whatever he was predicting, whatever he was talking about, nothing made it to print, right? And then the people that hated him, he was literally called the Antichrist. As a matter of fact, at one point, a woman tried to kill him, and he almost died. Stabbed him in the stomach, but he eventually recovered. But yeah, he was called an Antichrist. The people that were opposed to him really hated him. I mean, deeply and viciously hated him, because how dare this unwashed, uneducated peasant who is the favorite of the hated queen have access to the Tsar. And that's among people that supported the Tsar. So Japan happens, the war is going really, really badly, really, really badly. And Alexander and Nicholas wants to keep fighting anyway. And Rasputin's telling him to keep fighting. Rasputin's getting more and more vocal he got really cocky. And after the attempt at his life, it's proven that after the attempt at his life, he started drinking, partying, and throwing orgies and stuff like that. That's been established as a fact. The rumors before his life, we don't know. A lot of the thinking is that before the assassination attempt, he was keeping everything secret, or at least thought it was a secret. And then afterwards, he was more open about it. So anyway,
sorry, my internet just cut out for a minute. Your computer was fine. It was just on mine.
Yeah. Ooh, Robin said something interesting, and I'm missing it. I'm gonna have to rewatch this back, guys, because honestly,
there's so many good comments in this chat. It's actually hard to keep up.
Honestly, what I found was so boring. What I found was it was all about political intrigue, because the two big things that are the problem is that even at this point, throughout right up until the very end, nobody knew that the son was a hemophiliac. They were trying to hide it because they didn't want, because I don't know why because as the only heir to the throne, if the son's a hemophiliac, then everybody else gets like we've all been in history class. So and so died without an heir, and civil war broke out. So and so died without an heir, and civil war broke out. And so we don't know what he was or wasn't trying to accomplish by keeping it a secret, but we do know that there were other people wanting power. There were so many layers of people that wanted, nobody really wanted Nicholas to be the Tsar. That's part of the problem. So ooh, Queen Maria of Romania.
What's this?
Yeah, I just glanced over and now I'm distracted. They hid his disease because they wanted to retain faith in the monarchy during such an unsettling time. Exactly. The interesting thing, though, is that if they had disclosed that he had the disease, okay, let's back up. Rasputin was assassinated. I mean, Archduke Ferdinand was assassinated when it started World War I. Assassination and stuff like that was common. I think there was probably some legitimate fear that finding out the boy was sick and not likely to reach adulthood would have created rival factions that were going to be, well, let's sort out power and then kill the kid, because then whoever's left gets to. And I do think there's some of that was happening.
Caroline brought up something interesting.
Yes, I didn't know how to express that. He belonged to a religious sect that believed that the more sins you commit, the more saved you are. He believed this. This was something that now his family, because he had 4 kids, and his surviving daughter actually found her way to the U.S. Years later, and I think she became a citizen. I'm not sure, but anyway, in interviews with his Only his one daughter. But anyway, when the interviews with the one daughter, she's like, oh, dad was a wonderful guy. He did this, he did that. And people just accused him of shit he didn't do. But she was also told to marry one of Rasputin's acolytes, even though they hated each other. So it's like, yeah, her memoir definitely proves that daddy was a nut job. And she said, like, like, oh, he performed miracles. He was a faith healer and this sort of thing. He, like, if he was involved in hypnotism, then he could pretty much, if he got close enough to control somebody who's susceptible, then they would believe whatever they wanted. And yeah, he definitely spent some time with a group that believed this, and there was the belief that is what that he became one of their members. A lot of those groups tried to keep everything secret. And again, there was an assassination attempt on him, and I think it was like in 1911 or something like that. And after that, he just started flaunting it. He didn't care anymore. He just did whatever he wanted. He already had to begin with, but he had a modicum of. The queen knew. The queen and the Tsar, they both knew what he was doing, but they needed him to keep their son alive. Who knows what he was doing? Maybe he was just using herbal cures or whatever. Most of what he did was in secret behind closed doors. And the son's illness was in secret behind closed doors. So there's definitely a whole lot of reason why they're okay with that. But yeah. So he is reputed to have predicted the future. Certain things happen, making statements in court that then come true. But he's also advising the Tsar to engage in things that are just not working. Yeah, you should go to war with Japan. You should do this. You should do that. So that was bad. We basically there was a revolution at that point during or just after the war with Japan. There was a revolution because they're starving, they're hungry, they're unhappy, and Nicholas is making announcements that they're going to keep fighting Japan until they win, and so there's a revolt that had to go. That then he had to send in the Red Army, or I guess it wouldn't be the Red Army then, but he had to send in the army to quell the rebellion. He had to take back his own country by force, and then. A few years later, everything's gearing up for World War I, 1914 to 1919. So 1914, the Tsar when the Tsar fought the Japanese, he just said, go fight the Japanese. He stayed home, right? He's got no experience leading the military or leading anything. World War I basically breaks out. He's sending his forces to the front. Deeply unhappy people. Starvation is a thing. People are being worked to death in very unhealthy and unsafe conditions in the factories to produce guns and arms for the war effort. He thinks he's got the support of the people. He doesn't. He has the support of the army, but not the people. Rasputin, there's an attempt on Rasputin's life. And this first attempt on his life was within a few weeks of the Archduke. The Archduke Ferdinand of Austria was assassinated, and World War I broke out within a few weeks. In that same time frame, this woman tried to kill Rasputin and did not succeed. So World War I is just been launched, is just starting to rage. He almost dies, comes back, and is like, fuck this, and starts really doing things. So now he's asking for favors. Can you make my friend a minister? Can you make my friend the mayor of this village? He's getting his people in positions of power, patronage. It's not happening. So the interesting thing is that what's the bigger thing about Rasputin is not necessarily from the mystical side of things, but from his willingness from the way he got power and his willingness to abuse it. Is where we basically end up. And he's got just enough skill as a faith healer, just enough skill in making predictions that people are falling for this shit. What am I missing?
Caroline's comment.
Oh, absolutely, he was a narcissist. Absolutely. He was making comments. He believed, this is the thing. He fully and thoroughly believed that everything he did and everything he said and every thought that came to his head was a direct gift from God, which well, everything's a gift from God, therefore I'm a gift from God, therefore I can do whatever I want because God is allowing me to do these things, therefore I can. And yeah, his daughter, bless her little heart. Oh, after the assassination attempt, he started drinking of the occasion. He occasionally had dessert wine because he was supposed to be a vegetarian that swore off alcohol, which we find out decades and decades later after all the people are interviewed, whatever. And again, finding people to interview was hard because I'll get to that. Anyway, yeah, in the royal court, he had a certain reputation. Everywhere else, he did not. He was absolutely like full of himself and full of his own power. Yeah. Yes, he wrote this to the Queen. He wrote this to the Queen because he foresaw his own death. He foresaw his own death. And we don't know, did he foresee his own death, or did his spies tell him something? He did have his supporters who believed in his mystical power. And don't forget, people attach themselves to power. It's like, I don't care if it's mystic or not. He's got the Tsarina's ear. I want to be his friend. So we don't, the level of faith that these people are bringing to the table, don't know. But he's got his supporters because and again, let's go back to that song. It's like, the Rasputin was the man to please because he was keeping their son alive. We don't, and nobody knows because this is all done in secret. And this is all done in secret. Nobody knows what he's doing to keep this boy alive. We don't know if he's doing medical treatments. We don't know if it's strictly faith healing. We don't know anything. The Tsarina is blind faith. This man is the reason why my son is still alive. He can do whatever he wants. Rasputin is, I am a gift from God, and God put me here to do whatever I want, and that's exactly what he's doing. So he's telling, and then so things are going on. The Tsar appoints one of his. The Tsar appoints a really some dude. He doesn't matter to the story. He appoints some dude to lead his armies in World War I. Things are going okay. Like World War I was trench warfare. Millions and millions of people died. That's all we really need to know. And the Russian people were incredibly fucking unhappy about this because the Russians weren't doing so great. The army was unprepared. Russian winters are brutal. The army's unprepared. It's mostly made up of peasants. You've got the loyal army, and then you've got the peasants that are mobilized, given guns, and told to go to the front and shoot things. So an army is always run that way. You've got your career soldiers, and then you've got your conscripts. Now, conscription was a thing right up until what, like Vietnam. So there's no judgment about conscription, but there is a lot of judgment about he conscripted these millions of guys to go join the army, but then didn't outfit them properly. Not enough of anything. So these guys are just being sent. They're just cannon fodder. They're just cannon fodder going to the front. They're not happy. Nobody's happy. And Rasputin's telling the Tsar, oh, of course they're happy. The people are happy. They love you. They love to serve you. They love to die for you. Anybody is proud to die for Mother Russia because he's a fucking shithead, right? So, yeah, Barb says, are you saying that Rasputin was doing some insider trading? Absolutely. Absolutely. He was, if you were in good with Rasputin, he would get you a cush job, a cush high-paying job somewhere. He was basically using his influence to get high positions for his friends who were incompetent and not able to do the job. So basically, everything at home is crumbling because and we don't really know why they became so desperate. I do think that there was a lot of inner turmoil going on in the court at the time. There were people. Okay, if Alexei had done, don't forget they have 4 girls. And then they have their son. By the time girl number 4 is born, there's already whispering at court. You can't tell me that Nicholas didn't know what was going to happen if they didn't have a son. And then turns out the son is sick. If they find out the son, like shark bait. I mean, honestly. So Rasputin has been credited with so much mysticism, fortune telling, faith healing, with no proof. It's absolutely crazy. I think he was just. I think he was a horrible human being who managed to luck himself into the right place at the right time. But I'm pretty sure the Russian court itself was already positioning and manipulating to work out how they were going to split power if the Tsar didn't produce a son. So when the Tsar produces a son turns out to be sick. I think that they did all of this to preserve their hold on power. And don't forget, you don't ask the Tsar to step down. You depose the Tsar violently. I think that as long as the child stayed alive, the Tsar stayed alive, politically speaking. And I think that was where he made most of his mistakes. Most of his mistakes were revolving around trying to keep the young prince alive, giving Rasputin too much power. And next thing they know, they're in a trap that they can't get out of, and they're just trying to navigate it as best they can and fucking it up every step of the way. Oh my God, it was, yeah. Yeah, sorry, no more politics, sorry, yeah. Anyway. Yeah, he was all about himself, didn't care about his country or about the Romanov family. He was the downfall of the Tsars of Russia, and he absolutely was. He was the downfall of the Tsars of Russia, but yet he did make certain key predictions, like the one that Lisa put up, that if this happens, then you know I'm dead, and if that happens, they're coming after your husband next. But yeah, he was a lunatic. They called him the Mad Monk for a reason, because he was known to be a bloody lunatic. He was a self-centered, egotistic lunatic. He had at least one mistress at the time of his death, however many more while he was alive. Donna loves Henry VIII history. That's why she's named her dog Henry. So, yeah, somewhere in time, Caroline says, I don't know if it was a prediction or just everyone in the country knowing what was going to befall the Romanov family. The country was at war and the people were starving to death. Exactly. The country's at war, people are starving to death, and the men who should be working the fields have been conscripted into the army and sent to the front. And at the same time that this has happened, the Romanovs are doing things. They're holding galas. They're holding galas that cost hundreds of thousands of rubles to put on while people are starving. It's getting to be a problem.
I missed something, and I'm trying to make sure you caught it. You probably already said it, but did you see Barb's?
Oh, yeah, Lisa had to step away for a minute, so she's back now.
Rasputin was able to predict when the Romanov family was going to die. Did you see that Romanov family?
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you'd seen that.
He did make predictions. That's the part. It's like that's the thing that matters. He did make predictions, and he made predictions. He made predictions throughout Russia to very, because it's there's not just this Tsar and Tsarina with nobody else. St. Petersburg is essentially the city where all the elite lived. It is the crown jewel of Russia. It was Petrograd at the time. It is a very, very rich city where all the rich people live. Palaces everywhere. So yeah, I mean, Rasputin's moving through these circles. People are afraid of him. He's making predictions and healing people and doing things. People are afraid of him in a way that we don't understand. Hi, Bruno. Are you going back to sleep, baby? He's like, I'm looking. He's over there trying to look pathetic. Anyway, so yeah, it's really, it's the funny thing is that so much mystery has been wrapped up in this guy, and yet there's very, very little in the way of actual proof to the things that he is. There's anecdotes, there are rumors, but nothing's in writing. Oh my God, guys, I'm old and decrepit. Anyway, so you're not supposed to laugh. You're supposed to be sympathetic. Jeez. Oh my God. I say I'm decrepit. She's like, eh.
Bruno's just like, look at you.
Hey, baby.
Like, hi, pay attention to me.
My puppy. Oh, there he is. He's just in the corner of the camera watching me. Hi, baby. Anyway, so then we get on to World War. So now World War I is raging. Nicholas has put somebody in charge of the army. I still can't read that from here. Nicholas has put somebody in charge of the army. And Rasputin advises the king, the Tsar, you should go take command. And the war's not going well, because the war didn't go well for anybody for the entire, 1914 to 1919. For the entire length, it was just a slog. It was just trench warfare. Everybody's like just, it was crazy ass shit. And I'm not sure exactly. Russia was fighting against Germany. And again, the Tsar having a German wife worked against him, because it's like, oh, well, the reason why we're losing is because his wife is spying. He's literally sleeping with the enemy, spying for the Germans. And his wife is spying for the Germans and sending them back the information that they need. So trench warfare is happening. Not a lot's going on. It was just brutal all the way. World War I was considered the most violent and most brutal war of all time. Even more so than World War II, because people just literally dug their way into trenches and just run out of your trench, attack each other, run back again. The various lines only moved like a mile right up until the end of the war. Very, very little headway, very, very little. It was very little and very rare to move to, you would spend, the entire year going back and forth over this muddy, barren field where the trenches are only a few hundred yards apart.
We are at the hour and 20-minute mark.
Oh, wow. I've been going on for way too long.
Nah, it's fine.
Anyway, yeah. Yeah, so basically, yeah, Barb says, and I'm going to rewatch this, guys, just to see the comments, because I know I'm missing a lot, because I'm just giving I'm giving a very dry history lesson here. I literally found next to nothing about details. I found rumors. I found this. I found that. Anyway, there's basically Rasputin Rasputin is the one who sent the Tsar to take control of the army and lead them personally. So now the Tsar is at the headquarters, relieves the other guy who did have some idea of what he's doing, relieves him of command, and starts doing stupid shit. He's not a leader. He's not very well suited to be a Tsar to begin with, and he has no military experience. And he's leading, and every time he has a question, he's basically caved, and we don't know how and we don't know why, because he didn't like Rasputin. He didn't trust Rasputin. He simply allowed Rasputin's presence because it made his wife feel better, and it was keeping his son alive because he loved his wife. We don't know what changed. And again, this is Rasputin's reputation for mesmerism, which was hypnosis, his reputation as a faith healer, and his reputation as a seer who could foretell the future. Something happened, and suddenly Tsar Nicholas is doing whatever Rasputin tells him to do, and we don't know why. Around the same time that this is happening, Alexandra is writing. She writes letters back and forth to Rasputin, and they sound like love letters. And those letters go public. Somebody gets a hold of those letters, and they go public. So now, King's off to war, doing badly. Since he's taken over, things have gotten worse. Way worse. Way, way, way worse. People are starving. Soldiers are dying. And there's now rumors that the Queen is having an affair with Rasputin, who at some point or other, they probably did start having an affair. And the rumor is that she's spying for, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it's crazy. So now a bunch of other guys are like, okay, this is too much. Something happens to tip the scales. Rumors become facts. All those rumors have been going on since 1904 when he first found his way into court. It's now 1916. He's been hanging around the royal family for 12 years. Everything's going downhill. You've got multiple factions who just simply want Rasputin gone and are probably willing to support an overthrow of the Tsar at this point, because he's just every time the people stand up to say we want something, rather than dealing with the people and recognizing their issues, he cracks down. He cracks down, he cracks down, he cracks down on the advice of Rasputin. It's like, oh, well, they're not true Russians. You need to go out and kill them all. And boom, off he goes. It's like, what? You don't even like this guy. He's an unwashed peasant. You don't like him. You don't trust him. And you're killing thousands of peasants because he's telling you that he's part of the voices that are telling you to go kill these people. And we don't know why. Basically, there are theories. Okay, so now we've got like 10 minutes to go on to the theories because there's not that much. It's really weird. It's really weird how there's not that much. One of the things is that Rasputin believed that he was given his power through God. He believed that he was building up the monarchy, not tearing it down. And yet that's exactly what he did. Rasputin's influence was almost 100% directly responsible for the fall of Tsar Nicholas. We don't know what would have happened if it had become, even when they were arrested, so 1916, everybody's had enough of Rasputin. We don't really know what the triggering event is. A bunch of conspirators get together, invite him for dinner. and kill him. And again, we have medical reports saying that he was poisoned, shot, and drowned. We have medical reports saying that he was shot but not poisoned and dead before he hit the water. And then we have other people saying that he was stabbed, that he was beaten, all this shit. We have all this shit that's going on. So even the fact of his death is like this massive mystery that basically like rocked the royal circles. Yeah. So, ooh, there's a comment. Lady Knight, what did Lady Knight say? Edward Brzezinski wrote the first biography about Rasputin that uses actual documents to tell the story. Okay, now I need to go find that one because my God, I couldn't. Here's the thing: when you're looking something up 100 years down the road, all you see is everybody. You know, you're not it. There is, especially if it's somebody who's got a reputation, a name, which Rasputin does, going through opinion piece, stuff that doesn't really matter all that much. But yeah, so yeah, Tsar of the land of Russia. So yeah, that was December 16th, 1916. Basically, Rasputin was assassinated, and less than 2 months later, the royal family was arrested by the Bolsheviks, which led to their imprisonment. The son was still alive at that point in time. It led to their imprisonment and eventual execution. And the son survived. He was disabled by that point because of his hemophilia, and he actually survived and survived long enough to be executed along with the rest of his family. But yeah, so this guy absolutely starts at the bottom. Nobody knows how or why he came to anybody's attention. I suspect that he was meant to be a pawn. Oh, this guy has a reputation as a holy man. I'm going to bring him into the Tsarina. She's going to see that she's going to see the error of whatever. Like for some reason he got known in the circles. Whoever recommended him to the Tsarina thought that they were going to gain favors and power if he could actually pull it off. But I don't think anybody really knew why she wanted to meet him, because this was a major secret. The only person outside of the immediate family who knew was the priest that was their personal priest and confessor. Yeah, and his healing touch, basically, yeah, Siberia still has shadows of pagan mysticism. He was reputed to have a healing touch for a very, very long time. Oh, well, his son and heir to the throne ended up being more important. Was it because? Yes. His son ended up being more important than the welfare of his family, and because of this, losing the Romanov family rights to the throne forever. Exactly. Basically, and again, this goes back to what I said at the very beginning. The king, the Tsar, and the Tsarina loved each other, which was very rare in Russian society. So keeping his wife safe and his family safe became very, very important to him. Hiding his sons, basically, you've got political factions happening at the time. The people are unhappy. The monarch, the hangers on are, there's always scheming. Though I'm assuming that by the time Alexei was born, scheming and plotting was already happening. Well, if he doesn't have a son, we got to figure this out, blah, blah, blah. We got to do this, we got to do that. He has a son and realizes that whatever scheming and plotting is happening in the background, keeping his wife and his family alive keeping this child's secret, keeping this child's hemophilia a secret is integral to keeping his wife and then the rest of his family alive. If that makes sense. Because a king who doesn't love his wife is going to make other plans. Honestly. And he didn't do that. Which was bizarre. Well, not bizarre. Okay, it was great. Him and his wife loved each other. But the fact that they loved each other meant that he was more focused. He's a king that does not love his wife, and his children are just something that he has out of duty. Is going to be more focused on his people and his reign and his power. Of a monarch that loves his wife is going to. His attention was split, and it's a big fucking country with a lot of shit going on. People were already unhappy. It was already a bad omen that people died at his coronation. So honestly, Rasputin's story is the byproduct of Tsar Nicholas's story, which is really, really interesting. And the things that were believed about Rasputin, his faith healing and his ability to control, he basically, there is some truth to the fact that the Tsar and the Tsarina became his puppets. I would have no problem believing that he was literally blackmailing them with, well, look, I mean, if I'm not here to heal your son, word's going to get out. Word's going to get out. It's like, you can kill me if you want, but then people will find out your son's a hemophiliac, and then the rest of your family's at risk as well, and blah, blah, blah. I think he absolutely, I think the biggest thing that he had was he had a reputation. Maybe he could faith heal. Maybe, like, look at practicing Reiki and stuff like that. Like, I mean, people practice Reiki that are very good at practicing Reiki that don't necessarily have to be or are required to be decent people in the rest of their day. We don't know how, we're kind of at the leading edge of that sort of stuff ourselves. For those of us that are into tarot and mysticism and things like that in the modern day. I think that I think that you have this uneducated peasant that with that not enough education, but too many opinions, too much power. He definitely started running the Tsar and Tsarina like puppets, and they let him. They let him because he had just enough shit going on that people believed. He had just enough shit going on that the Tsar, that the Tsarina at least believed that he was a mystic and a healer. Anyway, and it's really sad that after all this talk, I can't come to a single except for treating Nicholas. I can't come up with a single thing that Rasputin did that is documented. I'm gonna go look for that book though. I can't think of a single thing that he did. I couldn't find a single thing that he did that actually wasn't just him being a screaming fucking nut job. Screaming nut job, and giving advice that his advice directly led to the downfall, because he had Nicholas doing such problematic things, and the letters from the Queen that sounded too much like love letters for everyone's comfort was just too much. So even some of his supporters turned against him. Yeah, it was crazy shit. It was absolutely crazy shit. I would love to find just one reference of something that he did. There are references of things that he supposedly said, like when she sent the telegram, my son's not feeling well, we're scared, he's been given the last rites, and he writes back, the boy's not going to die, just send the doctors away. And he recovers. Like those kinds of definitive, this is a fact statements is something that he was known for. And when you live your life making those kind of statements, of course, some of them are going to happen. So yeah, it kind of, there was something to this guy, but I have no idea what it was, because most of what I found was more about religious, being a religious zealot and having a reputation as a faith healer, which is like, yeah, it was weird. It was really weird. So there had to have been something going on behind the scenes, because there is no way that he would have been tolerated in the Russian court on rumors. Does that make sense? And not one ounce of information as to what it was that he did to make anybody. Okay, you can get the Tsarina to believe he's healing your child, but nobody knows your child is sick, and yet he's gaining support and followers. So he's doing something else, and he's doing something else, and he's so secretive and so successful at keeping those secrets that nobody knows what it is. Which is like, maybe it was as simple as hypnosis. We don't know, but yeah. So yeah, a big. Oh, Lisa's giving me that look. Oh, now she's giving me another look and a finger. And no, she's not giving me the finger.
I'm not picking on you. Leave me alone.
Yeah. Anyway, I've been babbling along for quite a while.
We're gonna pull for the magic hat very
soon. Yeah, we're gonna pull for. You know what? We're gonna pull for the magic hat right now. Don't forget, guys, that how to intuitive tarot with Becca. Is that her name now?
Yes. Is it intuition or intuitive? It's intuitive. Yeah.
Intuitive tarot with Becca is starting at 1:00. So if anybody doesn't know who Becca is, go check her out. She's awesome. She's fun to watch. She's also does a live where you can comment and talk and chat, and don't forget, give her a little bit of love. I'm going to be over in that chat in a few minutes myself. And Yeah. Becca does a live chat every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday at 1 p.m. So, but I'm going to draw this quickly because if I don't, I never finish my coffee. I'm like, oh my God, I'm strange on not enough coffee. So yeah, sorry that it was just a history lesson without a lot of fun stuff. I'm glad you guys had fun chatting about the stuff that everybody else knew about. I'm going to go look up some of that stuff because my God, the stuff that I wasn't finding, which was really weird considering his reputation. But most of the stuff that was written about him was written by his enemies, and anything written by his supporters was just whatever. Okay, what do we got here? Are we ready for the hat? Ooh, oh my God, we're going back in another circle again. Okay. Da, da, da. I know. I'm trying to be.
The suspense.
I need coffee.
Will you stop putting up? What's our subject? You're so mean.
It's not my fault you let me sleep in, and now my asshole vibe is going.
Drum roll.
What are you hitting over there?
My
You hit it.
computer.
Don't hit your computer.
Oh, okay.
Don't hit my computer. My God. The dogs hear the noise and are like, wow, you're annoying. Go away. Okay. Next week is Freemasons.
Oh, that's like a jumping off point to the Templars.
Yeah. So Rasputin was a little break. Rasputin was a little break from the chain of events, but we're going to go back to Freemasons next week. But yeah, I would love.
Oh, no, sorry.
Oh, you scared Jamie.
No, it was that loud.
Oh, Caroline says, is this going to be the normal time now on Sundays, or we're going back to evening again? I think I'm going to try and keep it at 11 going forward because
you're kind of having to move it because we have planned Sunday night.
Yeah, Sunday afternoon and evening is the best time to get together with the kids.
Yeah.
So what we realized is if we're doing it like I can
kept having to move it is what
happened. We kept having to change it to accommodate, family and shit and all those people that,
Ooh, Marion's gonna look up the Scottish stuff on the Masons. And Lady Babylon wants to know if you have Illuminati in the hat. Do you know if they're in there?
I believe they are, and if they're not, I can put them in. Did we list it down somewhere else?
No.
God, we're not smart. We'll put it in. It might be in there twice. Illuminati's got a lot of stuff about them anyway. So if we end up... Now, don't forget, if something is like just absolutely like, oh my... I can put the Templars back in the hat if we feel like we didn't get enough out of them, because Templars is like 200 years of history followed by 800 years of mythology.
I think we should go through the topics that are in the hat and then like do another live where we get a whole bunch of ideas and then throw them back in the hat.
Yeah, if you have an idea that you want in the hat, absolutely. If you think an idea should go back in the hat for a second round later, absolutely. We've got lots of stuff. I've literally got enough stuff in the hat for like, the next like 6 months. So we got no rush to do that, but yeah. Yeah, Jamie says, I think they are in the hat.
We could probably at some point empty out the hat and do a list of what's left in
we there. We can. Yeah, we could. You know what? That's something that we should have done, was written everything down first. And we didn't do that, but we will, it'll only take a few minutes to do that. So we'll try and do it. So that's 2 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, but 11 a.m. is working out best for us because
Enoch, time travel, Noah, like Noah's Ark, Noah.
Oh yeah, Noah's got some interesting stuff.
Oh.
Interesting. I think I was debating on doing one about generically on the Bible and then doing, but I don't know a lot of people are really turned off by religious discussion in general. So we'll have to kind of decide on that one. But then again, and don't forget, we've already discussed in detail. So let's just bring this up again. I'm not going to have any hurt feelings on my side of this camera. If we pick a topic and people says, oh, that one creeps me out, I'm not going to be at your next live. It's like, okay, lovely. Let me have a good day. Have a good day. That's fine. Not every topic is for every person, and I'm not under any circumstances. You guys don't owe me shit. Just keep that in mind. I say it all the time. I really do mean it. So we can definitely make a list of what's already in the hat, and maybe next week or the week after we can discuss. We can have a quick chat on that and go from there. So. Ooh, the Anunnaki. Yeah, they're good ones too. Okay, so we'll at least, don't worry, we'll look at the very last. We'll just write those down after. I gotta go because I gotta go. We have chores and shit and chores.
We have to make lunch.
Oh, Lisa's getting hungry. That's why I'm getting the look. What?
Give me
trying.
the book. Stop going to the internet.
I'm doing a really bad job of trying to get her wound up today because she's just looking at me and rolling her eyes and go, "Fuck you." It's like whatever. Anyway, next week is going to be Freemasons. Rasputin was, I don't know, like, I do think there's something there. I do think there's something like mystically creepy there. I really do, because this should not have happened. His rise to power, the amount of power he was able to wrap around himself, and the things that he was able to do, like suggesting to the king, telling the Tsar to go do blah, should not have happened. He was the monk ministering to their son. Something else was going on, and he was involved or doing whatever. I don't know where and how he got his power from. His enemies called him the Antichrist. So whatever powers we would assume Jesus would have, assume that anti-Jesus is going to have, whatever. I don't know. People literally believed that he was wielding demonic power. And I think that's why a lot of people made hints but didn't want to commit to writing what he was doing because it was sinful. I don't know. I don't know how to describe this, but something was going on. He was bringing more than just faith healing to the table, and yet uneducated peasant from the middle of nowhere who is all he knows is religion and religious zealotry. And yeah, something was going on. Something really, really interesting was going on. And I would love to dig deeper and figure out, I would love to dig deeper for my own conspiracy theory minded brain. But the lack of information, about somebody so fucking powerful is really, really telling. Anyway.
Stop staring at the camera.
I'm staring at my wife. I'm staring at my dog. Okay, so anyway, hope you had a good time. Hope this particular dud of a time, like I said.
It wasn't a dud. You did awesome.
The material was a dud. The material was weird. It was just weird after weird after weird. When you look at this, when you think about what the times were like then, this should not have happened. How the fuck did this happen? I spent the whole time going, well, that shouldn't be happening. That shouldn't be happening. Okay. Anyway, we got to go. Like, subscribe, follow for the next one. We're going to be doing 11 a.m. Pacific time on Sundays going forward. And I hope to see you on the next one, and have a good day and have fun. And yeah, and don't forget, if you find any cool, interesting stuff, don't forget to share it in the comments. And you guys have a great day. Bye.
Bye.